Hey there, you cute, depraved degenerates. Welcome back to another Lyniq Answers Questions Nobody Asked, where I dodge my therapist's calls like sniper fire and mainland digital masochism for your entertainment. Today's kink is Borderlands 4, Gearbox's latest looter shooter set on the brand new prison planet of Callis under the boot of a sexy little fascist called the Timekeeper. Sounds lovely, right? Except I'm raw dogging the apocalypse without the one thing that keeps mercs alive, a shield. Borderlands shields were never just a blue bar. They're rechargeable condoms that eat chip damage, elemental splash, and damage over time while burping out anointments and passive survivability. Yank that away, and every skirmish becomes lethal TTK math. A stray pellet, a sneeze of radiation, or a puff of corrosive fart gas, and I'm deleted faster than your dignity after 5 tequila shots. And as a direct successor to Borderlands 3, this thing inherited BL3's cracked dopamine drip, faster spawns, nastier elemental stacks, and enemies who actually use cover like they've read the manual. Then turned up for Kairos with cybernetically juiced murder smurfs. BL4 is the meaner big brother who stole your lunch money and gave you a wet willy. So the rules for this run are simple, gentlemen. No shields. If I pick one up, I drop it faster than my browser history when mum knocks. And of course, hard difficulty, because normal is for cowards. I want every bullet to feel like an X's 2 AM you up message. I'll be abusing double jumps like a tax loophole and playing don't proc a DOT like my life, libido, and my last brain cell depend on it. If I don't survive a second wind, I'll be a greasy smear on the inside of your jockstrap. Now before we descend face first into Kairos without protection or lube, let's talk about our champion of pain, Vex, the newest siren on the block. She's basically what happens when Lilith's DNA gets spliced with a ghost, too much caffeine, and an unhealthy obsession with My Chemical Romance. Instead of phase punching or glowing like a rave stick, Vex summons specters and reapers, ethereal minions that rip, shred, and sometimes teabag whatever looks at me wrong. My entire build is dedicated to spawning as many of these horny little apparitions as possible and letting them do all the heavy lifting while I cuckold myself behind cover. So grab your hentai pillows, pull up your crusty sweats, and smash that like button harder than a Jacob's crit chain. Let's find out if you can beat Borderlands 4 with no shields and an army of angry ghosts. Bruh. Borderlands 4 doesn't ease me in with Claptrap's therapy session rambling. No, it skips foreplay and yeets me into Kairos corrections. I wake up in standard issue inmate drip, shot collar kissing my neck, hangover trying to repossess my soul, and across the hall a psycho is shanking his pen pal through the bars like it's arts and craft day. Our first friend is RJ, a resistance fighter, brain full of gremlins that oscillate between Professor and Murder Roomba. 1 second he's quoting Plato like we're late for Philosophy 101. Next second he's humming doom metal and calling me a meat sack with the tenderness of a car crash. We ascend, then immediately descend as he drags me through a tutorial meat grinder of shiv goblins and turrets that sneeze bullets. We even pick up a bar of soap. He drops a shower joke, so curse my spine logs out. No shield and no skills means every stray pellet feels like a colonoscopy performed by a lawnmower. Our loadout, 1 basic pistol and the elite tactical ability known as sprint, squill, and hide behind crates. The game pops up a cute tip about manhandling cover. I, a quantum genius, crouch instead and get stabbed in the bumhole like a pinata full of bad decisions, which sets the tone perfectly. Kairos doesn't hold hands, it holds hips and thrusts you into a drywall. RJ's breakout ends in a boss fight straight out of the trauma folder, the Warden. Imagine a man built like a refrigerator that bench presses guilt for fun, holding a wand the size of a tax write-off. He stomps into the arena with a couple of gunners and proceeds to turn the room into a firework display made exclusively out of my tears. I don't even have Vex's minion skills unlocked yet, so this fight becomes a survival horror speed dating event between me and death. I'm bunny hopping, corner humping, shooting him with what feels like a potato gun, and praying to any god still taking calls. All my shots are bouncing off the dude like I'm trying to fist a semi-truck, but somehow we still manage to take down the Warden. The man crumbles in a glorious supernova of sparks and molars, and for one fleeting moment, I actually feel proud and my nipples are erect with victory. Then the universe leans in and whispers seductively, psych. RJ suddenly locks up mid-celebration, and before I can say, update your drivers, he's screaming in binary. The Timekeeper hijacks his brain. I barely have time to process it before he drives a blade straight through his own chest. I stand there, stunned, slightly erect, with my soul buffering at 240p. When the sky erupts, the order ships swoop in from orbit, guns already moaning. 1 second I'm upright, the next I'm airborne, falling, tumbling, straight into the abyss. I wake up choking on salt water and my own shame, sprawled across a beach like I just attended Poseidon's glory hole. Claptrap's there, poking me with a stick like a horny seagull that found a new species. Then he taps my chest and goes, no shields detected. That's hot, bro. I try to stand up and immediately vomit half the Pacific Ocean onto his wheels. Moments later, I get conscripted by Claptrap into a series of errands that redefine the word humiliation. Ultimately, it leads me to joining the Crimson Resistance, because I guess I had daddy issues and needed to feel something.
Daddy, chill.
After a few levels and a few dozen respawns, I start to get the hang of it. Unlock Vex's minion summoning ability, Reapers, Spectres, pure chaos, and and go from a guy desperately hiding behind cover to necromantic warlord conducting a mosh pit.
I am the danger.
It's beautiful. It's horrifying. I've never felt more f***ing alive. And that's when Rush shows up, looking like Roland and Lilith had a baby that grew up worshipping Joe Rogan. Bro's been cornered by the Order and in need of a miracle. Naturally, I am that miracle. After I pull him out of a very literal firefight, he looks at me with that mix of disbelief and appreciation people reserve for raccoons who can use doorknobs. He decides to join me, the Crimson Resistance. Apparently, my chaotic, shieldless lifestyle was inspiring enough for this walking protein bar to sign up. Borderlands 4 doesn't just give me new enemies to hate, it gives me friends to disappoint, just like my dad. The new crew rolls in like a bad sitcom written by caffeine addicts. There's Zedra, the engineer with a mysterious past and the energy of someone who's seen God him, and then built a jet engine out of his remains. The game practically neon signs her as important, dropping hints that she knows something about the Timekeeper's plans and about the bolt implants running through Kairos' people like cybernetic shackles. Meanwhile, Claptrap's out here hitting on my minions like he's auditioning for How to Catch a Lawsuit. Rush is cracking dad jokes like it's a coping mechanism. And Echo 4, our shiny new drone companion, decides to become my robotic life coach, GPS, and emotional support blender. It hacks doors, marks loot, and occasionally chirps in with navigation so smug it makes me want to uninstall Sentience. Then I find out the quests labelled hard aren't joking. Even at level parity, enemies shred me like a discount rotisserie chicken. Every encounter's a blood donation drive I didn't sign up for, so I start grinding. Every side quest, every bounty, every suspicious rock that might hold loot, I'm on it. I focus on gear that boosts minion damage and cooldowns because let's be honest, my shield slot is emptier than my soul. And that's when it hits me. This run isn't just about survival, it's about micromanaging every resource like a broke god in a rigged economy. Everything kills me within a couple of hits, and Claptrap somehow finds new ways to make that statistic feel worse. Shock pulses, corrosive puddles, failed stealth, all of it forces me to move like a paranoid turtle, carefully timing dashes, watching my minion cooldowns, and praying to whatever god runs Kairos' respawn system. On paper, it's simple. Go here, flip a switch, shoot some chads. In practice, it's a marathon of sweat, pain, and regret. But it works. The grind forces discipline. By the time I limp out the other side, I'm exhausted, humbled, and dare I say it, slightly aroused and petting my trouser monkey. Borderlands 4 taught me patience the hard way. I had a raging boner for misery bigger than Claptrap's ego.
That's what I'm saying.
You know that feeling when you accidentally click on a step-sibling video?
What are you doing, step-bro?
And against your better judgment, end up watching the whole damn thing for the story? That's the mid-game. My early confidence gone, Kairos finally reveals its true color, a planet-shaped death trap that hits me on a molecular level. Without a shield, there's no buffer, no forgiveness, no oopsie, my bad. Damage over time, death. Elemental splash, death. Random bullet from a hemorrhoid on the other side of the map, also death. The arenas are claustrophobic messes of geometry that exist solely to trip you mid-dash. What should have been a power progression turns into a sweaty montage of me dying, respawning, dying again, and re-evaluating every choice that led to this moment, including buying this fucking game. See, the next stretch of Borderlands 4 introduces the 3 mid-game pussy vultures, each holding a bolt, a cybernetic key that unlocks the Timekeeper's throne room. Collect all 3 badges, and you earn the privilege of getting stomped by the final boss in person. Until then, you're forced to crawl through the kind of missions that make you reconsider your hobbies, your life, and your relationship with gravity. The plan sounds simple: cut down Soul, Vile Lictor, and my favourite sexy arachnid, the Ripper Queen. Rip the bolts from their corpses, and finally kick down the door to Daddy's clock lair. In reality, it's 3 consecutive therapy sessions hosted by Satan, with each boss sitting at the top of their own twisted ecosystem. And since I have no shield, every single one of these fights is less heroic crusade and more live action execution. Even the trash mobs hit like they're auditioning for Elden Ring 2. First up is Soul, a grotesque masterpiece, dripping like a rotisserie god of cholesterol. He's Jabba's divorced cousin, clutching a bucket of space KFC like it's the last bastion of happiness.
His finger looking good.
His weak point, that cavernous maw. You've got to chuck grenades straight down his throat mid-roar, miss the timing, and instead of vomiting acid like a sane video game boss, Soul slams down post-sized pylons that pulse with orange energy and detonate if you so much as breathe near them. They don't just hurt, they delete. Every toss is Russian roulette with a live ordnance. No shield means no second chances. The arena itself feels designed by someone who hates both joy and geometry. Tight, hostile, lined with explosives that possess an almost supernatural awareness of my position. But here's the thing, I only died twice. Singular digit death count. A genuine miracle. Maybe the algorithm pitied me. Maybe Soul was too distracted by the smell of his own fryer oil. I don't know. But on the 3rd run, it clicked. I spawned a swarm of minions to soak up the shots, waited for that dramatic inhale, and covered a grenade right into his gullet like divine intervention in a Taco Bell parking lot. His armor split open like a busted pinata, his scream echoed through Kairos, and I unloaded everything I had into his pulsating gut. When Soul finally collapsed, I didn't feel triumph, I felt sexual confusion. The kind of confusion you feel after post-nut clarity and 45 minutes on the hub.
Yeah, boy.
A second Bolt Guardian is the Ripper Queen, and she is not your standard Borderlands hive boss. Forget the Bug Queens of old. This thing looks like Dr. Octopus if he got drunk at a Red Lobster and decided to merge with the decor. A humanoid torso with a couple of mechanical limbs jutting out like hydraulic nightmares, each one flexing with the energy of a chiropractor who hates spines. We face her right after Soul, which means my gear still sucks and my mental health still hasn't respawned. The arena is a wide open cavern dotted with stalagmites pretending to be cover, and she wastes no time reminding me that gravity is optional. Those metal legs let her cling to ceilings, crab walk across walls, and launch pounce attacks that feel like getting hit by a forklift made of rage. The fight drags on for 15 minutes of pure cardio. Every time I think I've found an opening, she explodes a bomb, and I scream in a pitch only dogs can hear. When she finally collapses in a glorious explosion of guts, sparking metal, and fecal matter, I feel an unholy blend of pride, exhaustion, and mild arousal. I've conquered my fear of insects and probably unlocked a new kink. After bulldozing the Ripper Queen like a drunk forklift, I had the audacity, the sheer clown-level hubris, to think the game would let me rest.
You thought it was over.
I was fucking wrong. Enter Vile Lictor, a grotesque, pulsating abomination that looks like a rotten shrimp wearing a fleshlight, and for some reason, a literal bell end where its face should be. This walking TOS violation has 18 arms, 4 legs, and a PhD in ruining your afternoon. In his second form, the bastard just eats bullets for breakfast, lunch, and a late night snack. I unloaded entire clips into him, and he looked at me like I just handed him a breath mint. I died 6 times in a row to the same bullshit move where he leaves a literal turd on the floor and turns the arena into an OSHA nightmare. After death number 6, I had to step away, take a cold shower, and spiritually consult YouTube University. Turns out, I was the dumb one. I hadn't been using elemental weapons, rookie move. And once I realized that when Lictor starts dropping his steaming death nuggets, you need to get the hell off the floor and parkour up to a platform like your life depends on it, because it does, the fight got a little easier. I even saved my specters for post-doo-doo cleanup duty. With that freak finally face down in the slime, I thought I'd earn peace. Wrong again. Surprise cameo. RJ shows up looking like he just crawled out of a blender. Turns out my bro didn't die to the Timekeeper. He'd been trapped and tortured by Lictor this whole time. And now he's edgy, probably evil, and 100% on my future to slap list. If the mid-game was me getting raw dogged, the end game is when Gearbox politely slides a finger in just to check my prostate and emotional stability. The final mission cranks the difficulty to divine punishment, and suddenly every lesson I've learned, positioning, cooldowns, minion herding, gets thrown into the spin cycle. Somewhere between the jokes about getting pegged by mechanics and whispering, I deserve this, I find peace. Or madness. At this point, they're kind of the same thing. We reunite with Amara and Zane, the vault hunting alumni from Borderlands 3, and things immediately get biblical. Amara's convinced Lilith is trapped inside the goddamn moon, which honestly tracks because she's the reason it's there in the first place.
Gas queen.
Now we're doing lunar archaeology. The problem? No ride. So naturally, the plan becomes let's hijack the Ripper's sky elevator, a colossal space-age death cable that rockets straight into orbit like Willy Wonka's elevator, if Willy snorted jet fuel and replaced Oompa Loompas with meth gremlins. The sky elevator mission is less transport and more murder blender. You're locked in this vertical coffin while psychos dive bomb from the ceiling and the floor fries you alive. There's zero cover, no room to kite, and because I've got no shield, my life expectancy is somewhere between a mayfly and a Reddit argument. Oh, and guess who decides to third party my ascent to heaven? RJ. My estranged emo stepbro just teleports in mid-elevator like he heard the word trauma and couldn't resist. For a glorious second, I think we're gonna duke it out anime style.
It's time to do.
Two sexy specimens locked in a cosmic brawl above the clouds. But no, the game rips the controller right out of my hands. Cutscene time. Through the sheer power of narrative necessity, and definitely not my skill, we sent RJ flying off the sky elevator like he just lost Smash Bros. Don't get me wrong, it looks sick, but I'm sitting there wondering if I even did anything, or if Gearbox just let me cosplay as moral support. So after surviving the world's most OSHA violating elevator ride, we reach the top, only to discover it's not some intergalactic Disneyland. It's a barren lunar rock with one lonely shaft boning straight into the moon's core. Amara is convinced this is where Lilith's hanging out, and for once, she's actually right. After trekking through sections that feel like a fever dream inside a washing machine, we find her, a flame-haired siren goddess. She's flickering in and out of reality, pale, twitching, basically running on Windows Vista. We pop her out of her interdimensional terranium, and I'm just about to celebrate when the Ripper Queen crashes the family reunion, because nothing says emotional closure like recycling boss fights. This rematch? Pure agony. The arena's a lunar crater with low gravity, no cover, no enemies, no happiness. Just me, Callis, and regret. She's gone for straight up steroid aggression, lunging with bladed limbs and turning the crater into a blender. No shield, no second wind fodder. Every hit's a one-way ticket to spectator mode. I die 13 times. By the end, I've started naming my deaths like hurricanes. I even consider leaving to do side quests, but the thought of riding that sky elevator again, I'd rather deep throat a cactus. So I keep headbutting my monitor and pressing respawn. Finally, I get her down into the red, on her period some may say, and on the final attempt, I hit second wind. Out of ammo, timer bleeding out, and somehow, miraculously, dump my last clip straight into her glowing core. She explodes as I let out a moan that could be interpreted as pain or sexual. Before her untimely death, she hurls a moon boulder at Kairos, detonating the Timekeeper's wall like a planetary firework. Lilith, now mostly alive and only partially dying, steps up with that signature "I can fix this" energy and warps us away before it connects. With a moon-sized hole now carved into the city wall, we finally have a way into Kairos. The plan sounds simple on paper. Sneak through the breach, fight our way up Ascension Tower, and punch the Timekeeper so hard his clock stops ticking. Easy, right? In execution, it's like trying to rob Fort Knox while wearing a gimp suit.
Honey!
What?
Where's my super suit?
Every street is crawling with bolted guards, auto turrets, and enough order goons to start their own OnlyFans. Every doorway is a death trap. Every alley is a war crime. With no shield, every mistake is a eulogy. So I get creative. I start throwing my Reapers forward as emotional support me. They distract the enemies while I sprint past, wheezing like an asthmatic gazelle.
Oh, fuck you! You left out battleground!
It's not heroic, but honor doesn't regenerate health, and I'm deathly allergic to bullets. We finally make it near Ascension Tower, when suddenly a siren blares and the entire district starts shaking like it just remembered rent's due. Surprise, Timekeeper knew we were coming. He fires up what I can only describe as an orbital "go f*** yourself" cannon, and everything goes white. Next thing I know, I'm back at Crimson Resistance HQ, staring at the ceiling. Turns out Zedra, our engineer queen and fast travel mum, slammed the emergency recall and pulled us out of the blast zone at the last possible frame. While I'm still trying to find my bearings, Vex starts switching. Eyes roll back, voice drops an octave, and in one motion, she shoots Zedra in the chest. The Timekeeper hijacks her body like a demonic Bluetooth speaker, taunts us through her mouth, then leaves us sobbing over Zedra's corpse. It's brutal, it's haunting, and it's the moment you realize the Timekeeper doesn't need to beat you. He can just take what you love. Now I'm running on pure hate, no more looting, no more side quests, just vengeance. The problem? Level gating. Gearbox has the nerve to tell me the next mission is hard, when I'm over here doing a no shield challenge like a masochistic idiot. I'm not underleveled, I'm just underloved. Every enemy two-taps me like they're trying to skip cutscenes, while I take an entire ammo reserve to bring a single enemy down. I could go grind, but that means refighting half the city, and I'd rather be waterboarded with a barge blast. So I do what any self-respecting lunatic would do. I run. I abuse my Reapers, yeeting myself across combat zones while they take an extended ass clapping. The footage looks like a speedrun from someone whose house is on fire. It's not cowardice, it's strategy. Strategy and sheer, unfiltered survival panic.
I just felt like running.
But finally we make it back to Ascension Tower and take an elevator for our appointment with the Timekeeper. Gearbox has been edging us with this guy since the opening cutscene, and now here he is in the flesh, or whatever divine Play-Doh he's made of. Picture Dr. Manhattan if he shopped at a steampunk Hot Topic. The arena is just one massive fight on the roof of Ascension Tower. No cover, no comfort, just me, gravity, and the persistent fear of cheeks clapping.
Ow, you're hurting me.
The fight starts off deceptively calm. The Timekeeper just floats up there, majestic and smug, tossing out these weird triangular lasers that home in on you like the world's angriest geometry homework. If one of those triangles even brushes your kneecap, you die instantly. It's like being hunted by Doritos with daddy issues. But as long as you've got guns that can chew through shields, armor, and flesh, you can juggle his health bars like a horny bartender trying to impress his reflection. The real pain is when you drop into second wind and the repair drones show up. These little bastards zip around faster than my patience evaporates, and trying to hit one while crawling on the floor feels like swatting flies with a wet noodle. But then, right as you think it's over, the Timekeeper does that smug anime thing and whispers, "You haven't seen my final form." He sprouts wings, goes full Fallen Angel LinkedIn profile, and starts throwing out melee combos and homing beams like he's auditioning for a rave. The biggest middle finger? The checkpointing. Die in phase 2 and you don't respawn there. You get to replay phase 1 all over again. It's like finishing in your condom, emptying it out, and reusing it for round 2.
Brother,
And his new favourite party trick is turning the whole arena into a lava jacuzzi. The floor ignites, the platforms start rising, and you have to hop around like a deranged Mario cosplayer. Miss a jump? Instant death. And even if you somehow second wind off a drone, the lava just says, "Nice try, idiot," and cooks you again. Eventually, I learned to stop wasting specters during this part. Let them chill, let the cooldown reset, then unleash all of them the second the lava clears and watch his health bar evaporate like my self-respect. Once I stopped panicking and treating the lava phase as a coffee break instead of a DPS race, it clicked. The triangle still grazed me often enough to make me invent new swear words, but after a few clean runs, the cosmic clock daddy finally went down. It didn't feel like slaying a god, it felt like finally smacking a mosquito that's been buzzing in your ear the entire game. Just when I'm ready to collapse, crack open a beer and let my soul finally ascend, RJ limps in like a corrupted action figure, eyes glowing with leftover Timekeeper code, looking half possessed, half ready for a nap. It's framed like this huge emotional epilogue. You can practically hear the sad violin swelling in the background, but in reality, it's a mercy killing. He shambles, I shoot, he dies. That's it. No teary sibling duel, no heartfelt closure, just me putting down the last plot thread like it's a sick goldfish. And honestly, I'm not even sad, I'm just done. The big twist feels less like a final battle and more like a cutscene Gearbox forgot to trim before shipping. One last limp jump scare before the credits. So let's review the carnage. In total, I died 178 times and the run took 31 hours and 23 minutes. 31 hours of blood, sweat, cum, and brain cells permanently donated to science. So, can you beat Borderlands 4 without shields? Yes, technically, but also, why would you? This challenge is the digital equivalent of raw dogging a cactus. Painful, pointless, and only enjoyable if your safe word is respawn. Gearbox already jacked the difficulty up to holy relic levels this time around. Taking away shields is like playing Twister in a minefield while someone pelts you with batteries. My professional advice? Comment your own curse rule set below. The worse, the better. And I'll add it to my growing list of therapy topics. If your anxiety spiked every time I scream, smash that like button to help my second win proc for the next disaster. Subscribe if you want to witness whatever unholy experiment comes next, because statistically, it will hurt both of us. And hey, if you actually made it to the end of the video, comment, "My toaster owes me child support." That way I know you're a real one. And until next time, keep your shields up, your boots on, and your hentai pillows close.